Hey there! New backdrop. Yes, I know. Today we'll be talking about Hero 68. The Hero 68 is a pen that was sent to me by a viewer. It's one of the I think larger Chinese brands, Hero, and today we're going to check it out. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, then I'll do a writing sample. Let's start at the very top of the pen, the finial on the cap. Very reflective, as you can see, quite nice. Then we have the clip, which has this interesting oval shape on there. Now we have the Hero logo, and if you rotate it you get two shuriken-like objects, which are supposed to be flowers, I guess, and then we have 68 and then two more shuriken. The barrel is slightly tapered, black lacquered, and it ends in a gold ring and then another shiny reflective finial. The pen is made of metal, so it has a fairly robust feel, and the clip is nice and springy, although quite tight, but it's not so tight that it can't be used. The cap pops off, and this pen posts very reliably. The cap will not fall off, so I like that. And I think it's also a very decent size when you post it. You could post a little bit deeper, I think, for many people to make it very comfortable, because it will get a bit top heavy, but at least the cap won't fall off. Okay, let's have a look at the nib. The nib is nothing too fancy, but it doesn't look too terrible. It's two-tone. It says Iridium Point. At least it doesn't say Germany. It's pretty fine, as you can see. The feed is nothing special, and the section has some type of texture on it. It's tapered, has two gold rings at the end, and then it has this texture, and that texture is actually smoother than you may expect. It's not rough at all, but it does give you a bit of extra grip. You unscrew the pen, out comes a little converter, very standard type converter. I have these on the vast majority of my pens. It's a very simple Chinese type, well, Chinese type, that doesn't really make any sense, but I see these on many Chinese pens. This one is labeled Hero, again has that logo on there. Converter is a converter. This one has a little metal spring in there as a an agitator. I have a video on that if you want to know more about that. What can I say about the pen? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? I like the looks, and there are a lot more gaudy Chinese pens. I think this is a pretty nice looking, fairly restrained but interesting looking pen. As you can see, the lacquer is fairly shiny, which is quite nice. Reminds me a bit of the Italics pens. They have that shiny black lacquer on a metal body as well. Works well. Nice feel, nice weight. It doesn't feel cheap, which is a good thing. Some Chinese pens do. This one really doesn't. So that's quite cool. Okay, now what do I not like about it? I found the nib to be fairly dry and also relatively feedbacky. Now it is feedbacky, yeah, it's a word now. Feedback because it's to be expected, because it is a fairly fine nib anyway. But this would be a nib I would work on a bit. I would make it a bit wetter, and I would make it a bit smoother probably. On the other hand, these are not super expensive pens, so that type of work, you know, I won't say you can be expected to do, because you shouldn't be expected to do any work on any fountain pen, but in reality that's usually what happens. Okay, well, I think that kind of covers it. There isn't a whole lot more I can say about this pen. Something I do find a nice feature is that oval shape on the clip. I'll show you that again. I think that is fairly nifty looking. Okay, let's take a couple of measurements. Capped, the pen is 140 millimeters. Uncapped, I was just adjusting my scale there, sorry. Uncapped has a bit of startup time. Uncapped, it's 122 millimeters. Section diameter at the narrowest point is about 8.5, and at the widest point it's about 10 millimeters. Weight, inked up, I don't want ounces, guys. Okay, it's 22 grams, or 0.8 of an ounce. And that's all there's to it. I think what's much more interesting is seeing the pen in action. That's what we're going to do next. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Okay guys, writing with the Hero 68. The ink is Visconti black, and the nib, it's not marked, but it's a fine medium. I would say it's more on the fine side of things. Do a bit of writing. This is very smooth Clairefontaine paper, and I definitely feel feedback here. As I said in the video, I would, the earlier part of the video, I would really smooth out this nib a bit, for that very reason. Now if we do some fast writing, you see the pen is, it's pretty okay. It's not really running dry, it's not skipping or skidding, so that's very good. In my recollection it was a bit drier than this, but it's not terrible. The Visconti black is not the wettest of ink, so it's a bit drier than I thought. A bit wetter than I thought it was. Let's do some line variation, because I think that is where this pen actually shines, as oddly enough a surprising number of Chinese pens does. You do get your line variation. Would I call this flex? No. But semi-flex, I'm willing to go that far. It's definitely a pen that offers you line variation, and that I think would be one of the main selling points. You don't buy this for nib smoothness, but you might buy this because it allows you to do this, and that is something that some people like. Okay, some reverse writing. You see it works, you also see it runs dry, but for maybe a word or two it should work, and it is already quite fine to start with, so it's probably not a big gain. Guys, I thank the very kind viewer who sent me this pen. It is an interesting object. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.